Hey everyone, welcome to Smash Trivia. I'm your host, Smash Trivia John. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram by searching Smash Trivia to follow everything happening with me. I'll be the one with the big old green head in the profile picture. I'm so excited to get into this. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, in this series, I'm going to review everything Hulk, all the movies and TV shows, and maybe at some point I could get into comics, but that's a while off. Hope you enjoy Smash Trivia presents the Gamma Analysis. I want to ask everyone listening if they could please do something for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all of your friends because I really want the Gamma Analysis to be big enough that by the time She-Hulk comes out, maybe I could become press and either get the first episode early or be invited to the premiere or even just get one of the press goodie bags. For this episode, I'm going to review The Incredible Hulk 77, Episode 5. Just so you know, this is not a critical podcast. Every episode of mine, I will always try to put out positive vibes. So while I will mention a couple of things that I don't like, I won't dwell on them. And the majority of my review will be things I liked in it. With that being said, I have a co-host today, and I won't force him to follow the same code of positivity as if he doesn't want to. Our co-host today is Keith, aka KeithSketches, aka Filmkritter with a K. I have a trivia question for you as well. What is the name of the triennial alternate future version of the Hulk? Do you have any answer for that, Keith?
The Tyrannal alternate?
Yeah.
I have no clue. Hector. I don't know.
Okay.
That's a stumper.
All right. So how are you doing today, Keith? Though
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. I had the day off to solidify these notes a bit better and refresh because I know we had to reschedule a few times and it's been forever since we actually watched these episodes.
Yeah.
But the notes are fresh and I kind of skimmed through the episode again to remember it all. But yeah. Episode 5, Guilt, Models, and Murder. Very excited. I know you were excited specifically because of it being a murder mystery.
Yeah, though sadly it didn't seem like there was nearly as much intriguing stuff to it as I would have hoped for. But
would you rate it as one of the weaker ones so far?
I think I enjoyed the episode still, but I think that it probably was one of the weaker ones, mainly because I noticed a few plot holes in the episode.
You have to tell me what those are because I probably missed them.
As always, I will give the answer to that trivia question later in the episode, and I don't recap things that I watch scene by scene, so I highly recommend watching the episodes before listening. And I have something new that I'm going to start trying to do every episode of the podcast, and that is to shout out another podcast. So this week, we're going to be shouting out the Agents of Fandom podcast by Fandom Wire and hosted by TJ Zawarki. They're close to 1,000 subscribers, and they said that they have a big Marvel announcement planned for that milestone. So I want to encourage everyone listening to subscribe to their podcast. All right, so we'll get into our review. This episode is titled Guilt, Models, and Murder. All right, so to get into this, as they already said, I was super excited because I love murder mysteries. And I know I've criticized the flashing sort of promo at the beginning of episodes previously, but this time I didn't mind it at all. But did you have any different feelings about that this time when you watched it?
I do an effort to kind of guess where they'll end, and I do skip them.
Okay.
I want to get to the. I don't want. Maybe it's a generational thing. I cannot stand when I see the trailer that I'm about to watch, how they have to do it for like social media and stuff. They got like the first 3 seconds of a trailer shows you 3 highlights just to stay tuned because everyone has a short attention span. But no, I try not to give it away.
Yeah, I understand that. And I think it was just that because I was used to it at this point now after watching a few episodes. So it's not that I liked it, but I didn't mind it at all.
It's that TV trope of like, stay tuned or here's what's coming in next time because they had to make sure you didn't change the channel.
Yeah. So I love how that right off the bat, it feels like a different tone this episode from the rest of the show, as it was very suspenseful. The opening scene because we start out with him turning back into Banner.
Yeah. I loved the different tone. The fact that we never seen it start this way and we have no idea what's going on and it's an aftermath kind of thing. That was the perfect way to start a murder mystery kind of episode.
Oh yeah.
It's probably their best step. But I love also that they play. This is the first time that his memory loss, we haven't been privy to what happened. So we don't know yet. So I love that he can't remember everything when he's the Hulk, because it finally, like, this is how they kind of use it in a new way.
Yeah. That first scene, he didn't even have to say anything, and there was so much tension. I loved how there was so much tension to it. Oh man.
True, because he knows that the Hulk is going to be destructive. He's a destructive force, and here's this room that's completely trashed, and he's just kind of piecing together, did I do this? Why would I do this? Who are these people? Where the hell am I? And then he could just sees the dead woman and has that flashback. I loved seeing Dr. Baxter in the flashback and seeing her say, it won't kill because David Banner won't kill. And then it all becomes that's the only thing that keeps him from just assuming he's murdered someone, is her quote. So I really liked that.
Yeah, well, that was really nice. I really hoped that Hulk didn't kill those dogs after the first flashback. And we find out later that he did throw one of those dogs, which, like, I don't really like that.
I find there's something, because I know you can tell, like, production wise, that wasn't a real dog. But there's something so satisfying about watching the Hulk throw various stuffed animals. Because we see him throw a bear and a dog now, and it's like, what's he gonna throw next? I can't wait to see him throw a horse. I'm excited.
So I know you made list of some other things that in the show. Are you going to start making a list of every animal he starts throwing?
Absolutely. The list is already formed, for sure. That's an easy one to remember too. I don't even have to write it down. It's so visually striking that it's like, okay, that's in my head now, and that should be a meme.
Next thing I had, which is something you already mentioned, of how we got to see Dr. Elena Marks again in the flashbacks using archive footage, and I really liked that we got to see her again.
I think her name was Baxter. Elena Marks, you're right. I totally called her Dr. Baxter for no reason.
Yeah, it may have been the name of the scientist at the zoo, maybe? I'm not sure.
Yes, that's what it is. I think you're right.
It's easy to get confused between two white, blonde female scientists.
He has a little flirtation with. It's like, oh, he clearly has a type. He likes a lady with brains.
The next thing I had was, I know this wasn't nearly as common back in the 70s, but being that this was a quite rich person's house, I'm surprised they didn't have security cameras that would catch David when he was running away.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I think if they've got security dogs and they've got a gate at the front entrance, like, I don't know if security cameras would have been an every home thing by that point in 70s.
And that's what particularly why I mentioned how it is a extremely rich person. So I would imagine they're more likely to have the security cameras. I wrote, though, I think this was revealed later in the episode, I think. I wrote, I wonder who was speeding away or speeding towards the scene of the crime. He was running away while that person was speeding towards it, which was kind of weird because it sounded like later in the episode, if I remember right, that they said that they were driving away from it.
I think what I remember, anyways, a while ago now, I think it was and it revealed that it was James Jocelyn, the homeowner, speeding home, and it was Sheila, and we'll get to that later, that was in the house. So I think it was him arriving, but they said it was the chauffeur guy originally, and that was the lie they're caught in later, I think.
Okay. The next thing I had was, I found it interesting. I actually really liked how they placed McGee in this episode. In the past, I've been very critical of his role in the show, but in this episode, I thought it made perfect sense him being there.
Was his first scene the scene with where he's posted outside the mansion with the other I think cops or investigators or whatever.
His first scene, I think, was when David was watching a television where there were interviews being done, but with a bunch of reporters the next morning.
Right, they were talking with James Jocelyn, and he had his little sob story, his little acting debut, where he was very clearly lying.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
And this was something I wrote. I write things as they happen in the show, so I know this is lying now, but I particularly wrote then. I definitely don't believe that this guy that he said that she was just joking when she was screaming for help.
I found the idea of the screaming for help game pretty hard not to laugh at. Like, I'm pretty sure if I did that in my apartment right now, there would be like a bylaw charge of some kind following.
The next thing I have was where in the second flashback where we saw the Hulk throw one of the dogs. So we've already talked about that, so I'll skip over that. But I find it very interesting, even though he's acting like he wants someone to find the Hulk, he actually was omitting a pretty big detail that would help find the Hulk, which is that he did not mention the Hulk's color. I feel like he should have mentioned the Hulk's color if he actually wanted people to find the Hulk.
I find that people do dance around that detail. Jack himself does not bring up the fact that it's this big green monster running around the city or running around anywhere. It's always this Hulk, and he just refers to him with the name. It's weird.
I think the only time I can actually remember McGee saying green is when he was in the pilot episode. I think when he first met David with the cop, he said a green giant or something. What he said. I think so. Yeah.
I like this moment with Jack McGee outside are we there yet where he's coming to Banner has come to the mansion and he's walking past Jack very quickly? Is that later?
See. I don't think I have in my notes where that would have been. I think we're probably close to. Yeah, if I remember right, that was the scene after when we saw him looking at the television.
He's watching the TV screen through the window, and then there's that hitchhiker who talks to him for a bit, and then he's like considering turning himself in and stuff.
There were a few things I wrote, I think, before that point, but I love the use of flashbacks in this episode, especially the really quick ones. Well, as you were just talking about how he was contemplating turning himself in, I thought that was really cool how they're having a whole bunch of quick flashbacks there. The next thing I have was David applies for valet to get close to what happened because he got hired. What happened, but he got hired because he was recognized by one of the murderers. So that's about at the point you were talking about. So what was it that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, he walks up to the mansion. He looks down the street. He sees that Jack McGee is posted outside the mansion by his car, talking to some other guys. One of the other guys walks up with sandwiches for everybody, and he says, "So who got the onions?" And then looks at, and Jack puts his hand up, and he's just like, "Figures." And I just thought that's a really weird. Like, I just imagine he got a sandwich with only onions and bread. And that's
God.
I was like, he seems like an onion guy for sure. That Jack, that Willem Dafoe looking guy. Creepy man. But that's all I have.
I don't know why this reminds me of this, but so the other day I posted trivia questions for Good Burger, and it was reminding me of a scene from that film where someone was like, they said they wanted a good burger with nothing on it, so the guy just gave him 2 buns. I don't know why that remind you talking about those onions thing reminded me of that.
Well, it's like it's become almost like a dietary fashionable thing to get a burger with no bun, and people just kind of sit and knife and fork the patty and everything. It's like, okay, well, yeah, go with the opposite. A burger with nothing on it. Okay, here's some bread. Try to enjoy.
this villain actually seems kind of smart, and I really like that they gave a villain, made him be kind of smart.
Because he hired the man he saw leaving his home,
I
like
don't
the
really,
play,
I
you
don't
mean? Or
remember why I wrote that, but at that scene I it seemed maybe it was just because of how elaborate or something his plan was. I don't remember exactly from the scene when the guy is introducing David around the place, and he says that the previous valet had 30 suits. I just wrote, I can't imagine owning 30 suits. Holy shit.
like even if it's your day-to-day uniform, the suit, owning everything underneath the suit, I feel maybe you need 30 of, but the suit, jacket, and pants, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot to have. One for every day of the month, and then you do laundry day at the end of the month. That seems insane to me. You just overkill. Maybe James Jocelyn supplied him with 30 suits.
Yeah, I think
He's a
that's what
generous.
it was. I think that he was supplied those, but yeah, I just thought that was a really funny detail in the episode.
That moment, that was soon before the phone call he takes, and James
Mhm,
Jocelyn is like, he's talking to the previous chauffeur or valet, and he's talking on the phone about blackmail,
mhm.
and he's just acting very shady. And I found it very funny that he knows that David Banner, we find out later that David Banner, he knows that he was the guy who was at his home that night, and that's why he hired him to try and silence him. But like
Mhm.
he's just full volume in front of David Banner, who's like 4 feet from him, talking about blackmail and being like, well, I gotta get the money. I need the money to silence this person. It's like, I mean, you're not hiding this very well at all. But
Oh
I mean,
no.
whatever. He's
I
just thinking about he's gonna bump him off later. So who cares?
Yeah, probably. Next thing I wrote was maybe it's just us because of the image quality of the episode, but those photos of the model in the orange martial arts gi, they seem like some pretty crap photos.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That is the difference between a professional photographer and a TV photographer who's supposed to look like he knows what he's
like
doing.
he's a professional photographer. Oh my god.
And what was the theme of that? Like, so she knows martial arts and she's the only model that does. So they're like, oh, let's make this shoot about that. And that was
I
very strange to me. They couldn't catch any that weren't blurry because she's like spin kicking and stuff.
I
Just calm
seem to
down.
remember it being like something of like maybe they're trying to sell these orange geese for some reason or something, but I don't know.
Popular look for sure.
Oh man. The next thing I have is that you didn't catch it for your cataloging. The last name that David used in this episode was Blaine. So
How
I
can I?
thought I'd make sure to let you know in case you didn't catch it.
I wonder how many famous Davids he's going to pose as, because David Blaine, it just kept making me think of just him doing some miraculous trick to get out of
Yeah.
a scenario.
The funny thing
Claw.
is it wouldn't have been a reference to him because like if I remember right, I looked it up and like he was alive, but he was like a child when
Yeah.
the episode came out, so it wouldn't have been a reference to him. So
Nope.
I thought it was really funny.
Back in those times when David Blaine was just a name and
Yeah,
meant nothing to anybody. Yeah.
yeah. The next thing I had was, damn, don't even provide drinks at this photo shoot. You have to buy your own soda.
I'll go buy
Man,
you.
they're
Let's go
cheap.
buy you a soda. I thought that was weird too. It's like, what do you mean? Is this like? Does this place have like a cafeteria? What are you talking about? Buy me a soda. This place is huge. Provide your people with sodas.
The next thing I wrote again because I was writing as I was watching, so uh I know exactly what the answer to this is now, but I wrote, oh, is this model another suspect or are they working together? Uh, I think there were three different suspects in the episode, and weren't they all working together, or
I
was
think
it
it
that
ended up
the
that it was Sheila and what's his name, James, and Sheila end up working together, but the other guy, the valet, was not. And
Okay, yeah. So,
that's why they were trying to get rid of him, because he'd seen something. But I think he was a good guy.
yeah. I remember, didn't they put him into the car with David to be crushed? I
Yep.
think. Yeah. All right. The next thing I had was I didn't expect David to immediately reveal to her that he knows she was there the night before. I thought he would have kept that information close to his chest a little bit. But
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, he's usually so covert with his missions, but I don't know if it was just like the fact that he was nervous about, he really needed to know whether or not he killed someone, so it was weighing on him. So he just drops the hammer. He's like, "Hey, by the way, I know he's lying, and I need to know if I killed this person."
yeah.
She's like, "We just cracked this soda." Jeez.
Which we've all obviously figured out is that this is not the case, but I wrote that I don't think Jocelyn killed Terry anymore. I think this model did, and that she was trying to pin it on him, and that he's just trying to kill David because he believes David is the Hulk. That's what I was thinking at that moment in time. And I was thinking that that this model, the reason that she was trying to kill her was to take the top model spot.
Yeah, that I went back and forth on, and thought it was very strange how natural and normal she's acting with him before he drops the hammer and starts, and then they're running from that guy shooting at them, and yeah, there's a lot of back and forth, but it did make more sense to me that she was in on it, when even I think she's in like the interview at the beginning where James is like, crying to the press, and she's just standing nearby, and it's like, okay, this feels like she's making a move.
Yeah. The next thing I wrote, because I thought this was a pretty funny flashback, and we are obviously told later how it wasn't real, but I wrote, yeah, I don't believe that flashback was real. I don't think the Hulk would have cried. Also, it doesn't explain her being at the window.
Yeah, not at all. And the Hulk is I gotta say, I hate to say it, but the Hulk is an ugly crier. I really thought it was the most oddest thing, seeing the Hulk crying.
What?
And I was like, okay, that doesn't seem
Mm-hmm.
like something I would have seen anytime in my lifetime, but whatever, it's
Yeah.
fine. And the fact that they had that, what stood out to me in that room, that they had to make several, or they just had a couple lying around. There's these like hexagonal red cabinet that gets smashed in all three or all two flashbacks. I was like, they had multiple of these to smash about, and I thought it was the weirdest like room piece, but that might be my new job talking, because I'm at a place where they do interior design, so I'm thinking about furniture more than I ever have.
Hey, it's good to be able to have someone who knows something else about the scene that I would have known. So it's a good thing. The next thing we had, which we've already said, was that so they were working together. And then I noticed a lot of weird voiceovers in the episode. Did you notice that at all?
No, maybe I
Oh,
wasn't looking for them, but
like I just noticed like a lot of times where they where the voices suddenly changed, so it sounded like it was the same actor, like they were suddenly slightly different toned, and it didn't follow the lips quite right and stuff. So I was like, I wonder why they had to do a lot of voiceovers in the episode.
where were these parts? Were
I'm
they
not
near something loud, or I
I
wonder?
I'm not sure where all they were. I think one of them was during the scene where David and the model were at the bar. I think one of them was there right before it was started into a flashback.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
not sure
Yeah.
where all of them were though. Next thing I had was, if the Hulk doesn't come out, this would be quite the gruesome death, getting crushed in a car. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I think they showed that car crushing machine earlier, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, I was like, the Hulk's gonna have to stop that thing. And it was just
Yeah.
it's become like another game for me to play during each episode, to like they have to find a fresh way to feature the Hulk's brute strength. So as soon as there's a mechanism like that shown, it's like, okay,
Mhm.
dead giveaway. That's the new way that they're going to show he's strong, especially
Yeah.
before special effects. Like that's an easy thing for them to feature. Lou Ferrigno just pushing on something that's on and it's not actually on. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think I remember too that immediately when they got into the junkyard, be like, they're gonna put them in a car to be crushed. That's so the next thing I put, which this ended up being true, was I'm gonna bet that the reporter that they stole the car from was McGee. And I like that on the shot outside of the vehicle that's about to be crushed, they showed a moving head inside that makes it show that they are actually inside. That I think that's just a cool production clue there. Just is like they could have easily just shown just a car that you didn't see anyone in it, but they really wanted you to be able to tell there is someone in there.
Yeah,
I like
heighten the
that.
suspense a little bit more. That's good.
Mhm.
Good catch.
I think this might be the first time that David actually tries to get the Hulk to come out, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Well, I think he was trying to get the Hulk to come out while they were in the car. Let's see. The next thing I have was Hulk had a lot of headspace to be able to sit up in that car for a 7-foot tall person. I thought that was really funny. I think they put him in a different car for that.
Could have been a Dodge Ram with a lot of clearance. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. The next thing I had, I don't even remember exactly where this thing went, but I just wrote, yes, crush that gun, Hulk. Crush it.
Yeah, whenever they have like a rubber or like clay or whatever the heck they use gun, and he just kind of smushes the thing. It's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I love it. I feel like everyone at this junkyard should be able to figure out that one of the two people who are inside that car must be the Hulk. I thought that was funny how there's nothing, there's no like people being like, huh, that I wonder. Maybe
Yeah, they didn't do the usual like, oh, he falls behind a box or like he goes behind a wall or something. They're like, oh no, that we just put two people in that car, tried to crush it, and a Hulk came out. We got a 50-50 chance of knowing who this guy is, but nothing comes of it.
Yeah. The next thing I had, which there ended up technically being some resolution at the very end of the episode, but I had wrote, wait, is there not gonna be any resolution? The cops came, but they don't know that those two killed Terry, so they weren't arrested. It was so close to the end, so I was like, wait, what? What? It's not
Yeah, they wrap things up so fast sometimes. It's hard to tell. Like, are we supposed to just assume that the record was it like on tape recorder or something
yeah,
like
it was
that?
a recorder.
Yeah, so the confessions. So we just assume everything wraps up. But
Yeah,
I gotta say, I was killing myself laughing when in the flashback when Sheila was explaining what really happened. When she started to break lamps to display her ability as a black belt, I could not help but laugh. I was just like, that's how you do it. Yeah, so she could see what I could do. Just like, oh, you're ruining our lamps. Those lamps don't fight
that,
back.
but that's a great detail. I wrote, never mind. That was really genius having David use the recorder from McGee to get evidence. I thought that was a really genius thing to do for the episode. And I wrote that I wonder how he got the recorder back to McGee. That was the last note I had of the episode. Were there any last notes you had of the episode?
But There was a moment because I was watching this while I was isolating with my fiance between Christmas and New Year's. We were watching it together on the couch, and she was doodling on her iPad, not looking up very much, but I was watching it. And she looks up for 2 seconds, and it's some moment where Hulk's running away or something like that. And she goes, the Hulk's kind of caked up. She's just admiring Lou Ferrigno's butt, I guess, in his tight pants at some point. And I'm like, well, yeah, the guy's a bodybuilder. He's got bodybuilder buns. Like, of course he's caked up. But yeah, that's the last. other than that, I was so mad at Jack McGee because he so easily took the credit for Banner's excellent detective work. I was like, come on. It's like, you didn't do anything. You ate an onion sandwich, you lazy jerk.
My final thoughts on the episode was that I did enjoy this episode, but I noticed a lot of plot holes, which I have those plot holes here. One of them we already mentioned with the Jocelyn never mentions that Hulk being green, but later in the episode, David says that Jocelyn mentioned that, which I thought that was really interesting how David mentioned that earlier Jocelyn said he was green, but during that actual news broadcast, he didn't.
Never said that.
The sports car at the beginning is headed towards the mansion, but when it's mentioned later, they say it's driving away from the mansion. And somehow David gets the recorder back to McGee without somehow interacting with him, which I don't think he would have interacted with him just to give him that tape recorder.
Oh, I wondered if he just threw it back in McGee's car or something, but I don't know if McGee's car got trashed or not. I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't think so. The cops were able to find his car and they brought him in to identify it. So I think it was outside of the junkyard. So that may be the case. But I have some trivia from the episode. The car that David was tied up to be crushed disappears. And the car that we see get crushed is the first car that we saw in the beginning of the scene. It was so long ago, I don't remember really the difference. So I don't really have much to say on that. But the green car with no front grille with David was supposed to be placed on top of the brown car with a grille and the headlights to be crushed. Right before David knocks on the RV door to talk to Sanderson, he puts the tape recorder in his back pocket. But later he turns into the Hulk, and it's obvious that it's not there anymore as the pants are now very tight. Later he wakes up as
fiance would have noticed that.
Later he wakes up as Banner in the alley where he pulls the out the tape recorder again. And then we have as well some more from the episode. These ones from the Hulk wiki. Ted Cassidy does not perform the voice/growl of the Hulk in this episode. That's why it sounds so high pitched in this one versus the other episodes. I don't know why the same actor did not do it this time, but just thought that was an interesting one. Jeremy Brett, who plays Jocelyn, who would later be known for the role of Sherlock Holmes in the British Dramata series based on the Sleuth. Lonnie Anderson, who's best known for playing Jennifer Marlowe on the sitcom WKRP in Cincinnati and for being married to Burt Reynolds. Dana Loud, who plays Terry Ann Smith, played Valerie Scott in the series Land of the Giants. I don't know any of those series, but some people listening, maybe they would. But
I know the WKRP in Cincinnati. I know that series. That was good. And I knew Lonnie Anderson primarily I was like, why do I know that face? And there's the movie Night at the Roxbury with Will Ferrell. Okay. Mid 90s. She played their mother, and she clearly had a kind of a ditzy kind of character with a ton of work done type of trophy wife type of character. And she played it well. She was very sweet and very funny, and she brought them cookies and these 30-year-old sons of hers living in the pool house. It was a good part for her.
All right, So the answer to the trivia question from earlier was the Maestro.
Ah,
Is there any final thoughts you have before we end off the episode?
my main. I'm glad that there was a thrown animal in this one. I'm glad that the animal's probably fine. I mean, no, the animal's dead now. It's 1978. I'm sure, gone, long gone now. But I'm sure it died of natural causes, not Hulk throw.
Hopefully.
But no, this was a good episode. I think in my ranking of the episodes, it's probably in like we've watched 6 in total. I'd say this would be my 4th favorite.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. So thank you for listening. If you like this gamma analysis, please give a 5-star review. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the episode, so let me know. And if you'd like to listen to more from me, please subscribe. Many more gamma analysis is coming from me, so keep on the lookout. This again is your host, Smash Trivia John, signing off.